Hey guys, we're back. We've got chapter 2 of Deadly Inheritance, the Game of Heirs today. I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening. You guys aren't going to want to miss this one. Story continues, and it's just getting crazier and crazier as we add some new characters. So listen along, have fun with it, and I hope to see you guys at the end. Let's dive in. Chapter 2, The Wake. The wake at the family home was beyond amazing. It was so emotional and cathartic. It's wonderful to be a part of this family. Just kidding. After the eventful reading of the will, my dad and aunts did what they could to greet the guests and accept condolences before kicking everyone out. I played my part, saying thank you to a slew of elderly individuals and members of high society who may or may not have known my grandfather, as they expressed their condolences. When my role was fulfilled, I made my way to the game room to try and be alone. Walking down the stairs, I heard the rattling of pool balls hitting each other. Who would be in here? I saw my whole family in the living room. Hello, Steph. My grandfather's assistant greeted me. It was nice to see her face today. My grandfather only ever had perky, stunning assistants, no older than 25. She promised he always kept it professional. For Grandma's sake, we all hoped he was the same with the others. This was the first time I was close enough in age to really get to know one. Nikki and I have been friends for the past 2 years. How are you, miss? Asked my grandparents' nurse. A former fitness influencer turned live-in nurse. He started with the family when my grandmother fell ill in her final year, then stayed on to help my grandfather. Alright, Juan, I said, giving him a high five. He's a cool guy after he loses his more performative side. Standing on the far side of the pool table was a man I didn't recognize. A tall man. He looked about my age. Besides the shaggy hair dyed blue, he looked just like Grandpa in the portrait from the day he started the family business. I guess it's my turn. My apologies, cousin, he said. Cousin? I know all my cousins, I blurted out. The other two began racking the pool balls. Distant cousin. You know your grandfather had a twin brother, the one he started this fabled business with? He calmly explained. Everyone knows the story of how the business was started. Grandpa and his brother Christian bought a boat and began making deliveries from Sweden to Denmark and England. After school and on weekends, I said, grabbing a pool stick. That's the story. Well, I'm Christian's grandson. Distant cousin, as I said. Do you know what happened to my grandfather? He questioned. I believe when my grandfather wanted to expand the fleet of ships and leave the Nordic shipping lanes, your grandfather chose to stay in our home country and look after the family. He maintained a percentage of shares, though my father says he never once attended a board meeting, I said. Juan paired with my would-be cousin, while Nikki and I performed a dynamic duo. I broke, landing a stripe in the corner pocket. It's odd. He doesn't seem upset nor uncomfortable, even though it's his first time with our side of the family, and I wouldn't call today easy. He smiled and complimented everyone's shots. He spoke softly, even when laughing. He seemed even more at home than I do in this house. It makes sense for Juan or Nikki. They live here, or in Nikki's case, close to it. Only halfway through the game did he continue his story. That is a bit of a misconstrued version of the story. Would you like to know what happened? He offered, leaning over the table to line up a long shot. Do tell, I pressed. How do two farm boys, who spoke poor English at the time, buy a boat in the first place? How do those two boys grow that business into one of the largest in the world? Not all the goods on that original ship were strictly legal. When the business boomed and they went legit, one brother had to stay and handle those less than public details. That brother couldn't be associated with the company outside of stocks. He would never touch. My grandfather was that brother. and it took until my father's time to detach ourselves from those rotten beginnings. That is the true story, at least on our side of the family. He spoke so openly, like this should be public knowledge. The odd thing was neither Juan nor Nikki seemed bothered by his story. I'm sorry, you were telling me what? That your side of the family had to take the fall? That I'm lucky, the lucky side of the family? First off, let me tell you, my lucky side of the family hasn't left me feeling very lucky. And if it's money you think you are owed, trust me, you do not want to stick your hand in that jar right now. I ranted down upon them. Not at all. My grandfather was proud of his choice. Sweden's much nicer than America anyway. Also, he never once hated his brother. He only spoke highly of the man, and they stayed in contact. My grandfather and my father performed special tasks for your grandfather. We were paid very well. I've never had to work, just partied my way around Europe mostly. Honestly, I thought that would be my life, until about a year ago when your grandfather reached out to me with a few simple tasks, he said, nailing his shot. Nikki and I barely clung to a lead. What kind of tasks? I asked. Simple stuff, really. Mailing him snacks only found in Sweden, seeing if his old crush was doing well, fixing up the original boat, he said. Well, thank you for coming, but you may want to leave, if I'm being honest. I don't think you want to be around anyone in my family right now, especially with a story like that. They may get the wrong idea, I warned. Not just looking at him, but at Nikki and Juan, too. I only hope they got the message. There's no telling what my family would do with today's will reading. Don't worry, girl. I'm ready for the aftermath of his passing, Nikki said with a smile, missing her shot. Oh yeah, we know what we're doing. Thank you for thinking of us, young Steph, said Juan, taking his turn, only leaving the 8-ball for his team. First meeting and you are already concerned for me. How sweet family is. I'm not worried about your side, though. I received a letter from your grandpa inviting me to his funeral, with a mention that he had one final job for me. And I plan on finishing that job, he said, sinking the final ball. With that, all three grabbed their coats and prepared to leave. I only then realized I hadn't even gotten his name. What is? I started before he cut me off. Anders. And Steph. I do hope you are better at games than that. You'll need to be, he said as he left, followed by Nikki and Juan both grinning and shaking their heads in agreement. With that, I was finally alone, yet more confused than ever. I hope you guys enjoyed Chapter 2 of Deadly Inheritance, Game of Heirs. Things are heating up. Next chapter, we'll dive into how the family is going to prepare for this deadly, deadly game. If you guys enjoyed, please like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me, help the channel grow, and just let me know that you guys are liking these stories and want me to keep going here. Alright, I'll see you next time.